How did a 20-year-old loner with a week's notice pick the absolute best location to assassinate President Trump when the entire Secret Service missed it? Director Cheatle, in your leadership, your agency got outsmarted and outmaneuvered by a 20-year-old. It was a nut job on top of the roof. You know what else is dangerous? I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace.
I want to go straight to our Zach Cohen here in the Washington Bureau. Zach, I understand the Secret Service director has resigned after that very contentious hearing and all of these questions about the agency's handling of the assassination attempt of Donald Trump and what they were doing before that assassination attempt.
Well, I guess that didn't take too long. The U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle has resigned. So yesterday, she faced a barrage of tough questions from the House Oversight Committee.
The best way to keep your job is to answer the questions, not play this shell game, not sing the Slim Shady song, wasn't me. I mean, come on. How long did you prepare for this hearing?
I've been preparing for this hearing over the weekend and into last week.
Okay, 5 days, 6 days?
As soon as I was notified.
And how long was that?
About this hearing.
Okay, 4 days?
I began preparing.
4 days, 3 days?
I'm not sure the date that I got the letter asking me to be here.
What are you sure of? Are you sure the color of your hair? Are you sure the color of your suit? I'm just, like, tell the American people, what are you sure of? You don't even know when you started preparing for the hearing? I mean, the biggest hearing of your life, and you have no clue? You can't remember when you started preparing for this hearing? Can you understand why those words seem hollow to the American people who are supposed to entrust their faith in you?
I assure you, the moment I received notification.
But you can't remember. You got a little Alzheimer's, dementia going? I mean, what, you can't remember.
I have several active investigations going on and an operational agency to run.
And the hearing was focused on the security failures during the attempted assassination of the former President Donald Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania.
In my opinion, according to some of the testimony today, I feel that you have perjured yourself in some instances. And so I'm going to ask for a full review of the transcripts by staff. And if you find that to be the case, I do ask that you bring perjury charges against the director. I will say this, it is very frustrating, and I've talked to my colleagues and we've said it to your face, that you have been up here basically stonewalling our ability to get the answers to the American people. And what I will also say is that every single member of Congress does not feel safe with you in charge. You have heard that, and I think that we are all sitting ducks with you in directing the Secret Service currently.
A 20-year-old goofy almost assassinated Donald Trump. If he didn't turn his head, he would have died. This isn't much of a surprise, but at the same time, the House Oversight Committee really got in on Kimberly Cheatle.
I find it maddening that the director, that our country has come centimeters away from oblivion under your watch. You have answers. You are refusing to give those to us, directing us to the FBI, and this entire thing is a waste of time. You are responsible for the loss of a life and the shooting that took place on President Trump. You do need to resign. This is bipartisan. You need to be fired. You do not need to hold this position. You are not the best for this job.
And as Cheatle acknowledged the lapses and emphasized her commitment to rectifying them, even though at this point there is no commitment, she quit. The biggest problem is while Cheatle tried to answer some questions, she failed to satisfy the committee members with her responses. A lot of the lawmakers expressed frustration with her inability to provide concrete answers about how a rooftop within security perimeter remained unsecured.
Was there a protective intelligence team, and what technical resources were utilized for that event, specifically drone or helicopter assets?
There were a number of technical assets that were deployed for that event, and there was a protective intelligence team that was assigned to that event.
Why was Crooks able to fly a drone over the entire area the day of the rally and the day of his assassination attempt?
To my knowledge, he did not fly the drone over the entire area.
How did he fly a drone over the area, period? Any part of the area?
Again, I would have to go back and check the timeline of when that took place and when the event.
Why didn't you bring the timeline with you today to answer our questions?
I don't have all of the answers on the timelines based on the criminal investigation.
Were you not prepared today to answer our questions?
I am prepared to answer the questions based on the information and wanted to be able to provide.
Do you have a timeline at all from any of the day?
I have a timeline that does not have specifics.
That's shocking. That is absolutely unacceptable. That means you are a failure at your job.
Cheatle's explanations about the coordination with the FBI and local law enforcement post-incident did little to allay the concerns about the initial security breakdowns. Again, a 20-year-old weirdo almost killed the former president of the United States. It was a terrible performance, and she probably was pushed to hand in her resignation. There's no trust with the person running the Secret Service. She failed to provide satisfying answers during that hearing yesterday.
But that was after the shooter already took a shot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what you're saying now is that the Secret Service did not see the shooter on the roof until after the shooter took a shot?
I do not have all of those details at this time.
If you don't have those details after 9 days, Director, then what you're telling me is that you guys didn't see it. Is that correct?
I am telling you, I don't have all the details of the sequence at this time.
Director, it's been 9 days. Either you have the information or you do not. Is that correct?
We are still in the process of conducting interviews and an investigation.
Some of my colleagues have texted me over the last couple days, bipartisan, about whether you should lose your job. And I've been quiet on that question because I wanted to see what you were going to do today. In my opinion, you do need to be fired immediately. And it is because this is gross incompetence. And the fact that it's been 9 days, and these are simple questions to answer, I'm quite sure if I asked any one of my kids if they got in trouble and I told them to give me the details, I would get more answers from them than I'm getting from you right now. And that's what's frustrating on a bipartisan basis, on a nonpartisan basis. This is a joke. And Director, you're in charge, and that's why you need to go.
Many critics suggest that her appointment was influenced by DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. She cared about those initiatives. And the problem is she seemed like she cared about those initiatives more than merit, adding to the scrutiny that she faced. Many people are claiming that prioritizing DEI over qualifications can undermine the effectiveness of vital security roles, potentially leading to dangerous outcomes.
How did a 20-year-old loner with a week's notice pick the absolute best location to assassinate President Trump when the entire Secret Service missed it? Director Cheatle, in your leadership, your agency got outsmarted and outmaneuvered by a 20-year-old. How can we have any confidence that you could stop trained professionals from a nefarious nation state?
Well, at least I didn't see them. You can't seem to answer a single question about an ongoing investigation, ma'am, and you don't know when the information will be released publicly. Are you waiting for the administration to sign off?
No, I am waiting for the results of the investigation, at which time.
Okay. Let me ask you one more question. You found explosives in the shooter's possession. Is that correct?
The FBI found explosives.
Do we know who directed this young man how to make those explosives?
I believe that the FBI is still looking into that on their investigation.
Ms. Cheatle, you said that the buck stops with me, and I agree. I don't think you should resign. I think you should have been fired. Ma'am, you are a DEI horror story.
Trump almost got killed. Now, Cheatle's career path has been distinguished. He had 27 years of service in various leadership roles within Secret Service before her brief tenure at PepsiCo as the Senior Director of Global Security, and President Biden appointed her as the Secret Service Director in 2022, making her the second woman to lead the agency. Many people argue that her appointment was influenced significantly by DEI policies aimed at increasing representation of women and minorities in leadership positions. When you prioritize DEI, it can lead to a selection of candidates that may not be the most qualified for the role, which can be particularly dangerous in security-sensitive positions like the Secret Service. The attempted assassination of the former President Trump highlighted significant security lapses, with the shooter gaining access to a rooftop within the security perimeter. These failures were attributed to systematic issues within the Secret Service, raising concerns whether the leadership is adequately prepared to handle such critical responsibilities. You know, like making sure all the rooftops are secured. When there's people outside saying, hey, there's a shooter on the roof, there's a guy crawling on the shooter, maybe finding a way to get that guy down before he starts throwing out shots. The public realized, and obviously people that are protected by the Secret Service, They rely on the competency and the integrity of the Secret Service to protect national leaders. While the appointments are perceived to be driven by political correctness rather than qualifications, it can erode public trust. The hearing underscored this issue as lawmakers and the public questioned the competency of Cheatle in the light of these security failures, and she didn't do very well handling those questions. So it looks they need a reset at the Secret Service. They need to clean house and get the right people to do the job, whether they're women or men. Get people who are actually qualified to do the position, because we need a security force to be strong to protect our leaders, because it's a crazy, because I don't know if you noticed, but this year has been very crazy, not just in America, but across the world. You want to make sure the president keeps their head on straight. Literally, our president is Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. We will make sure that their heads stay on tact. Let me know what you guys think about this story. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.